The thing about LEGO's commercial tactics is that none of them are particularly secret. They're hiding in plain sight, on the website, on the box, in the checkout flow, in the terms of the loyalty program. But they work precisely because they're quiet. They don't announce themselves. They don't feel like decisions being made on your behalf. They feel like the natural order of things, which is exactly how the most effective commercial strategies always feel. Here are 7 of them. The first is mid-cycle price increases. And this one matters because it broke an unwritten rule that LEGO had kept for decades. Historically, LEGO sets launched at a fixed price and stayed there for their entire retail life. You knew that if a set launched at £100, it would cost £100 in 3 years when it retired. That predictability was part of the value proposition. Collectors and buyers could plan around it. In 2022, LEGO changed this. Citing rising raw material and operating costs, the company raised prices on hundreds of sets that were already on shelves, sets people had been waiting to buy, saving toward, or planning to purchase as gifts. The Millennium Falcon went up by $50 in the US and £50 in the UK on the same set that had been sitting at its original price for years. The Hogwarts Castle jumped by $70. 141 products increased in price in the UK and Europe alone in September of that year. The justification of inflation and manufacturing costs is legitimate to a point, but LEGO posted record profits in the same financial year they announced those increases. Record profits. The costs were real. The necessity of passing every one of them directly to the consumer, in full, at a company operating at record margin, is a harder argument to make. The second is what I'd call minifigure hostage-taking, the practice of including a unique, exclusive minifigure in a set as the primary reason to buy it, where the rest of the set represents questionable value at best. LEGO has known for years that certain characters drive purchasing decisions independently of the set they come in. A rogue minifigure, a specific variant of a character who hasn't appeared in LEGO form before, a newly designed face print, these things have genuine value to collectors and completionists. And LEGO prices sets accordingly. The X-Jet from the X-Men 1997 wave is a clear example. A mid-sized playset at more than double the community's standard price per piece, built around the fact that it contained the only way to get specific character figures at the time of release. The set itself doesn't justify the price, the minifigures do, but only because LEGO made sure there was no other way to get them. When the value of a set is almost entirely concentrated in 1 or 2 printed plastic torsos, and the rest of the build is filler around them, you're not buying a set. You're buying a figure with a very expensive base included. Third is the sustainable materials premium. And I want to be careful here because the environmental commitments LEGO has made are real. They have pledged to transition to sustainably sourced and recycled materials across their product range by 2032, and that transition costs money. Research into bio-based plastics, new manufacturing processes, supply chain adjustments, none of that is free. But here's the thing. Those costs are being passed to consumers now, in the present, for products that in many cases are still made from the same ABS plastic they have always used. The sustainability investment is real. The sustainability of the product on the shelf today is often not yet meaningfully different from what it was 5 years ago. You are being asked to fund a future transition through current prices, without a clear mechanism to know how much of what you're paying is going toward that transition versus toward margin. LEGO's sustainability journey is genuinely admirable. Using it as partial justification for price increases before the products themselves have changed is a more complicated proposition. The fourth is what the community has started calling adult tax, the deliberate pricing of the 18-plus product lines at a premium justified by the assumption that adult collectors can absorb higher prices than the family market. This is not a conspiracy theory. LEGO's own financial communications have referenced adults as a key growth demographic capable of supporting higher price points. The Icons line, the Creator Expert sets, the Art series, the large UCS Star Wars models, these are all priced with adult disposable income in mind rather than the family toy budget. The Titanic set launched at $850. The World Map at $350. The reasoning is that adults who buy LEGO are enthusiasts, and enthusiasts pay premiums for quality in every hobby. That reasoning is not entirely wrong, but it creates a dynamic where LEGO can charge substantially more for a product aimed at adults with the justification that the adult market expects and accepts it, which gradually normalizes a price floor for the entire range that then trickles downward. When a $300 set is normal at the top of the catalog, a $150 set starts to feel like reasonable mid-range. The anchor shifts, and every price in the line benefits from being measured against an increasingly expensive ceiling. Fifth is regional price inconsistency, and this is one that gets significantly less coverage than it deserves. The same LEGO set can cost meaningfully different amounts depending on where you live, in ways that go beyond exchange rates and local tax differences. A set that costs $100 in the United States might cost the equivalent of $120 or $130 in Australia, Brazil, or South Korea after conversion, not because the product is different, but because LEGO prices regionally based on what each market will bear. In Brazil, documented instances have shown the UCS Millennium Falcon costing the equivalent of over $1,700 United States dollars at local retail, more than double the American price for the same set. This is standard practice for global consumer goods companies, and LEGO is far from unique in doing it. But it means that the price you pay for a LEGO set is not a reflection of what the set is worth. It is a reflection of what LEGO has calculated the market you live in will pay. Two buyers purchasing the exact same product with the exact same experience are paying very different prices for no reason that has anything to do with the product itself. The sixth thing is the controlled scarcity of Pick-a-Brick. Pick-a-Brick, LEGO's service allowing customers to buy individual pieces directly, is one of the most useful tools available to builders, MOC creators, and collectors who need specific elements. It's also a service where the availability of individual pieces is managed in ways that are never quite transparent. Certain highly sought-after pieces cycle in and out of availability with no clear pattern. New parts introduced in sets frequently take months or longer to appear on Pick-a-Brick, during which the only way to get them is to buy the full set they came in. Prices on Pick-a-Brick increased by up to 25% on cup options in January 2022, alongside the broader retail price increases, a change that received far less coverage than the set price hikes, but affected builders and creators just as significantly. The service exists as a genuine value add for the community. Its pricing and availability are managed in ways that consistently drive buyers back to full set purchases rather than reducing the need for them. The seventh is the cycle of nostalgia monetization. And this is the subtlest entry on this list because it doesn't feel like a commercial tactic. It feels like LEGO listening to the community. Fans spend years asking for the return of a classic theme, a beloved set, or a discontinued line. LEGO eventually delivers it: a new castle wave, a returning pirate set, a retro space collection. The community responds with enormous enthusiasm and significant spending, and the price of that nostalgia is invariably higher than the original it's drawing on. The Lion Knight's Castle, a deliberate callback to the beloved castle themes of the 80s and 90s, launched in 2022 at $399 for 4,514 pieces. That price point, for a theme whose appeal is rooted in the accessible, imaginative, inexpensive play of a previous era, is a direct extraction of value from the emotional connection fans have to those memories. LEGO knows that nostalgia is a more powerful purchasing motivator than almost anything else in the hobby. They price accordingly, and the community pays accordingly, because the alternative, Not having the thing you've wanted for 20 years feels worse than the price on the box. That calculation, made at scale across millions of nostalgic adult buyers, is one of the most quietly effective revenue strategies in the toy industry. None of these 7 things are unique to LEGO. Dynamic pricing, demographic-targeted price points, scarcity management, nostalgia monetization, these are standard tools in consumer goods and retail. What makes them worth examining? In the context of LEGO specifically, is the brand's unique emotional position. People don't just buy LEGO, they feel something about it. Warmth, loyalty, a connection to childhood, a sense of belonging to a community. That emotional position gives LEGO more room to operate than almost any other toy company, because the threshold for feeling genuinely wronged by something you love is much higher than the threshold for feeling wronged by something you're merely a customer of. The things I've described in this video sit inside that gap. They're not outrageous enough to break the loyalty, they're calibrated precisely not to be. That calibration is not an accident, and knowing it exists is the first step towards spending on your own terms rather than theirs. Subscribe if that's what you're here for, and drop a comment with the one that surprised you most, because I'm curious which of these 7 the community hasn't been talking about enough.